Hello, David. Welcome to our channel. It's our pleasure to have you on our channel.
Thank you for having me. It's my
Uh,
pleasure.
Thanks a lot. I know that you have a busy schedule, and thanks for being with us in your busy schedule in our channel to have the interview. I'll have a couple of questions for you to better understand, how to grow a business in the United States. And then you, as a person who have been living and working in the States for many years, people would like to benefit from your experience. So let me start my very first question. According to your opinion, what differentiates companies that successfully scale in the US from those that struggle even with strong products?
So, in my experience, companies that are able to scale in the US, they provide clear differentiation, not just based on the product features, et cetera, but a clear, compelling differentiation and statement about why their product's better, how it solves a current need, how it's going to save the company money. This matters very much in the US because consumers have an incredible amount of buying options, purchasing options within the US market. So it's really important that they also build the credibility via case studies, ecosystem validation, et cetera, to be able to scale properly and strongly within the US market.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true, and thanks for shedding a light on the positioning, David. So my second question will be about consumer behavior and then consumer buying dynamics. So what do you think are the most misunderstood aspects of U.S. consumer behavior and buying dynamics for international companies?
So I think the issue with international companies, they assume that the product or service that they're offering, because it works in Europe, Asia, Africa, Middle East, wherever, that it's going to work in the US. And that's obviously not always the case. It tends to cluster this misunderstanding around, the psychology, the process, and risk tolerance that US companies tend to not have much risk tolerance. And they want to see a company that's got a product or service that has longevity, proven track record, case studies, and testimonials, and has actually been in the US market for a period of time. But it's that assumption that because it's worked elsewhere, that it's going to work in the US. And that's not always the case.
I absolutely agree with you because each country has its own dynamics, and you can't assume success if you're successful in your local market. Follow up success may not be the case. Okay, thank you so
Exactly.
much for the answer, David. My third question is about prioritization. So imagine the resources are limited. What should the companies prioritize first for US entry? Is it market validation, or local presence, or partnership, or completely something else?
That's a really good question. The first step should always be market validation. Will a customer, consumer in the US pay for it? Is there a demand? Can you sell it repeatedly, not just once or twice? Do you have room for organic growth? Does your messaging from a marketing and sales standpoint, does it resonate with the US market? Entering the US market is very expensive. There's a lot of competitors, depending on the product and service that's being offered. And you must do market validation first before you invest in having a local presence, of course, and partnerships.
Indeed, indeed, that's so true. And I think I have an immediate follow-up question to that one. It's about value proposition. So this is very misunderstood concept. I think you will be answering them so that our listeners will be better understand. So how should companies adapt their value proposition for US customers without losing their core differentiation?
That's a great question. I think it's important that for companies adapting a value proposition for US customers, I think it's less about changing what you are and what you do, and more about changing how your value proposition is framed for the US market. Companies that tend to do this well, in my experience, preserve their core differentiate, but translate it into the language of the US market buying behavior. And I think that's the key aspect there. What needs to stay constant also is, what's your unique capability, what's your technical advantage, And those are the key things for the differentiate.
Yes, I think technical advantages. I would like to underline that one. It's quite important when because there are millions of companies developing similar products and solutions, and technical advantages of great importance. And my next question is about mistakes. I'm sure as a person who's been living and working in the States for many years, you have witnessed many cases. So what are the
Yeah.
most common early mistakes companies make when entering the US market, and how do you think they can avoid them?
Yeah. Thank you for the question.
Yep.
Pretty much correlates with a couple questions ago. The big mistake that I typically see with companies, they scale too fast before validating the marketplace. They're hiring a US sales team, they're, leasing out office space, they're investing heavily in marketing, et cetera, and opening an office. And the key thing is without showing a proven demand and a pipeline of sales. So scaling too quickly, developing costs already in place before validating the market.
Yes, yes, they shouldn't be scaling quickly. I witnessed that one once, and I totally agree with you for that point. And my very last question is about I see a logo of IEEE on your background, which I used to be a
Yes,
member for many years, and
we look forward to you coming back.
my pleasure. It will be my pleasure. And David, you've been you spent many years for IEEE. It's part of your life. So
Yes,
and also IEEE is a great organization. It's the largest technical organization in the world, biggest and largest one. So how do you
correct.
see, for those who doesn't know IEEE, it's the Institute for Electrical and Electronics Engineers. So and how do you see IEEE supporting global companies in bridging innovation and market access, David?
That's a wonderful question. I feel very strongly that IEEE can play a unique, powerful role in helping global companies bridge the gap between innovation, market access, and technical credibility through our standards influence. I work in the power and energy space, and I can tell you that utilities in the US are very slow to change, and they are not going to incorporate any new technology, any new product, unless there's an approved IEEE standard and it's already been vetted and in the marketplace for a period of time. You know, Most organizations only address one of those that I mentioned. IEEE can help connect all three of these. Also, from a branding standpoint, as you mentioned, IEEE is the largest technical organization in the world. IEEE can help bring instant technical legitimacy that US buyers will recognize. For many companies, associations and affiliations with IEEE can really accelerate the trust curve with future customers in the marketplace faster than marketing and sales alone can do. So I think IEEE can provide substantial advantages and help bridge these gaps.
That's a great answer. And my key takeaway from what you said about IEEE is accelerating the trust curve. This is very important for companies who would like to access to the US market. David, it's our pleasure to have you today. That's a great conversation. All the best for the rest of your day, and then hope to stay in touch for the future.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. It was my pleasure.